Yeah, I guess Mick was right. Civil engagement is something that I didn't think would be happening so soon in a country like Egypt. I mean, that's something we have long forgotten, and wow, we're doing it now. So I can't believe I'm standing here excited that this is happening in my country. So it is my honor to share with you an experience of the Egyptian Revolution. As an Egyptian who was there and intends to stay there, in both my personal capacity and director of AFAS Egypt. Although I'm always very tempted to talk about the revolution on itself, on January the 25th, and how it led to the ousting of Mubarak on February 11th. I believe that the truly impressive part was how the civil society and its engagement was the backbone or the force underpinning the whole revolution itself, keeping it solid and strong. The Egyptian revolution was one proudly initiated and fueled by the youth of Egypt, and strongly supported by the people and the whole population afterwards. In hope of freedom and in pursuit of democracy, something that I personally think was so far away. We had no idea it could be around the corner. So allow me to draw a picture for you, illustrating what happened behind the scenes during the revolution. It initiated as an event on Facebook, a normal event on Facebook, on January 25th. The first thousands of groups of young people gathered in Tahrir Square. They were not taken seriously and were seen as a bunch of kids demonstrating, just like the several other demonstrations before. But this time, there was persistence and demonstrations stayed in Tahrir Square. And impressively, the numbers grew by the day. As it became possible that this can turn into a true revolution, thousands and thousands came and joined from all over the country, and the numbers were well over 2 million in 2 or 3 days. The administration, the former government, began to absorb the threat and take it seriously, and take aggressive actions with their usual oppressive tools. Many tactics were used to put out the raging fire of the demonstrators, or what I would now call the revolutionists. One important tactic was planting fear in the hearts of people through spreading rumors to the population not in Tahrir Square, to prevent further build-up and create division among the population. That's their classic move. The rumor being spread was that Egypt was approaching total destruction because of their irresponsible youth sitting there in Tahrir Square, and even worse if Mubarak leaves now. We were led to believe that Israel was lining up its army along the Egyptian borders in preparation of an invasion. Gas pipes were exploding in Sinai, and the Bedouins there were asking for independence. U.S. warships were waiting north of Suez Canal, ready to take over our #1 source of income, the Suez Canal. The Egyptian pound, our currency, will completely collapse. What is left of the economy will fail. We will go hungry in no time. Tourism, our second largest source of income, is already finished and gone. There is no bread. There is no gas. And these were, they disappeared from the market. So it was fear, a lot of that. We all know that the most powerful weapon is to scare people for their personal safety, their family, their home, and their life. You can easily do that, especially if you have full control over the media, the radio, newspaper, and even television. And the majority of our population is poor, vulnerable, and poorly educated. Unfortunately for the Mubarak administration, that tactic was not successful enough. Tahrir was still holding up. So another cruel tactic was used, unfortunately again, on the Egyptian people. On Friday the 28th at 4 p.m., the police force pulled out completely from the whole country. They simply stopped working and stayed at home by order from the commander-in-chief, Mubarak at the time. Can you begin to imagine what it means to have no police? Well, let me help you. To say the least, it means no operating police stations. It means no 911 emergency numbers. It means no traffic control. It means no guards for embassies. It means no security for churches, synagogues, or mosques. And these religious institutions are guarded because we were always led to believe that we have religious conflict within our country. It means no security for banks. It means no security for antiquities like the Egyptian Museum, not guarded at all. It means no secured prisons. Basically, anything that needs securing was now without. On that day, mysteriously, all prisons were opened and over 10,000 convicts and prisoners escaped on the streets. Not only that, internet service was cut and there was no cell phone service. And of course, television controlled by the state, airing fearsome pictures and state-directed talk shows playing their part of the fiasco as well. I'm sure some of that was on the news as well, how we were cut from communication completely. So can you imagine a country of 82 million with not one policeman on duty? It's hard to imagine, right? Well, chaos would be the natural expected result of this filthy move. But the incredible happened, truly incredible. People came together, hand in hand. It happened with no coordination or planning. Remember, we had no means of communication with each other. We were completely cut off from each other. It was no organized movement. Civilians formed groups in every neighborhood to guard and protect themselves from the thugs and criminals on the streets. They were all young men, the civilians. They were all young men from every home, 14 years and above. They were armed with kitchen knives, chains, sticks, whatever they could find at home. These groups monitored the streets day and night, taking shifts. We are not only talking about Cairo, but the whole country did that instinct. I recall my parents, who are both well over 70 years, with constant tears in their eyes and full of fear. They felt safe and would only calm down when my 15-year-old nephew, their grandson, took shifts with the men in the neighborhood and came home after 8-hour shifts to tell them that they were safe and not to worry, sharing stories of the incredible spirit on the streets about civilians and ordinary people coming together to protect one another. Civilians formed a human shield around our precious 102-year-old Egyptian museum, the one that houses the King Tut's solid gold mask and countless treasures. They took shifts day and night for over 5 days. Youth went out to organize traffic. Remember that traffic lights were turned off. All traffic lights were turned off. And drivers gladly responded. I'm sorry I don't have pictures for all this because hardly anybody was focusing on documenting the event. Whatever I could get, I managed to do. Not one embassy or bank was raided or attacked or put in danger. Churches and synagogues were safe. In fact, Muslims attended church service on Sunday, stood in large numbers guarding churches at praying time to show solidarity. Christians formed a shield around Muslims in Tahrir Square as they performed their Friday prayer. That was the picture for that. I could go on and on with stories of what happened during the 11 days of complete police absence. But the even more impressive part is that crime rate and thefts remained only at their usual rates and no more. You could imagine differently with no police at all. I must confess, we surprised ourselves. And from then on, our confidence grew strong, and we knew that we were much more powerful than we could imagine, or rather led to believe during our long years of oppressive ruling and dictatorship. The interesting question is, who were those people who we saw taking care of us during the police absence? The answer is everyone. Finally, on February 11th, Mubarak steps down, or rather was ousted, under tremendous pressure, but sadly much loss was on the way. But now that I look around me, we had much less loss than my fellow fighting citizens in Libya and Syria and Yemen. I pray for them, but we had losses too, but not compared. So, what happens the next day? The day after February 11th, when Mubarak steps down. Hundreds of youth go out to the streets to clean up Tahrir Square. Again, this was not organized or agreed upon. And in streets all over the country, they went out to paint, beautify, plant, and repair. Some collected and raised funds for those who were affected by the standstill of the economy during the revolution, providing food for poor people who lost their daily income. People were out in the streets doing whatever they could do. Some youth even went to the pyramids to send the world a message with big signs reading, "We have accomplished our internal affairs of cleaning up our country of oppression, so please come back, we are waiting for you." And we were protected, I have to mention this, we were protected by the media that was there. And it was so important for us that the media